Welcome, everybody. We're just getting started here. I'm a minute late because I was talking to our guest, and we were talking basketball. Now, I could probably, if we wanted to do a basketball podcast, I could talk about that all day, but I think everybody would leave and nobody would be watching. But so I got this live streamed on my More Creek Fishing Adventures YouTube channel, and I'm also live streaming on Facebook for those that are watching. Let me go over there. Okay, so it is on Facebook. It's live. If you have comments, okay. Let's see here. I think I can get comments through from Facebook and from YouTube. If anybody is watching on Facebook, go ahead and comment. I want to see if it comes through. If it doesn't, and you're commenting on Facebook and I don't see it, sorry about that. I'll work on it. But I want to try to live stream this on my YouTube and Facebook if we can do that. I know there's a lot of people on Facebook that don't get on YouTube, and there's people on YouTube that don't get on Facebook. Real quick, before we get our guest on here, I got back, was it today, Tuesday? Yesterday. I got back yesterday from Kentucky Lake. It was a Tennessee cast kayak bass tournament. I talked about it last week. Me and Josh talked about it, hyped it up a ton, and I did horrible. I ended up getting 66 out of 85 people. It was probably the worst fishing I don't know. Probably the worst fishing I've ever done. I'm going to title it like horrible fishing. I'm still going to make a video. It was so bad. I don't even know where the fish were. It was one of those days. Like I fished for 4 or 5 different ramps, didn't catch anything. But I'll recap that later. I'm going to do a video coming up, also like recapping all my tournaments, how much money I won, how much money I lost, like where I placed in each one, how many tournaments I fished in. So we're going to get to that. But if you got some comments, put them in there. We'll try to get to those. We're going to talk some creek fishing and probably kind of winter fishing, stuff like that. It's coming up. But let me get our guest on here. He's a guy that I've fished with a couple times. He's a big creek fishing guy. And when I say big, I mean tall. No, he's a big guy. We are going to play one-on-one one day. There he is. Matt from Matt's Fishing Mission. Welcome to my podcast. Oh,
thank you for having me.
Real quick, before I ask how you're doing, somebody commented something, and I was just going through comments. Where did it go? I gotta read it again. And I thought it was brilliant. It says here, Miguel Rodriguez commented, "Welcome to John's Creek Chats." And I've been trying to come up with a name for my podcast. I'm like, Creek Chats with John or something like that. That might be pretty good. If you got a suggestion, if somebody has a suggestion for a name for my podcast, which this is episode 9. I'm surprised I've done 9.
Babbling
it's going pretty good. But
with
Matt,
John Dalton.
Tell us how it's going.
It's going great, man.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
What have you been doing recently?
I just finished up Fall Waiting League.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we did the 2022 season, and then that wrapped up, and then they've got like a mini session for the fall, which is like a 5-event waiting session, and just finished up that. I finished 4th out of 22 guys, so not too bad. It's good because it gets you in different waters. Part of the waiting, and Pete, the NAPRA Pro Waiting, he's in the chat here. He put this together. He's CEO. He's been doing it for like 17 years.
Okay.
So it got me out of my comfort zone because I'm from Cincinnati, and a lot of the NAPRA Pro Waiting sites are around Dayton, which is about an hour north of me. And so it got me into creeks that I'd never fished in and I never got to explore. So it was really cool to force me to get into different waters. And so it's been a good time. Met a lot of good waiting anglers in the series.
All right, so we'll give us a little bit before we get into that. Well, I want to get back into that. We'll dive into that.
Yeah.
Tell us who you are, like maybe how you got started fishing, and then how you got started as a content creator.
Well, Matt Wesley, I'm 44 years old, just turned 44, old man. Ooh. As far as the YouTubers go. Yeah. I started fishing, when I was a kid, like most of us do, just bobber and worm fishing. Dad would take us out to my dad took me to like pay lakes. He was a pay laker. So I didn't learn like sport fishing until like 10 years ago. And I started looking about how to catch bass. And I found John B. because I was searching like Ohio areas. And that time he was in Athens, Ohio, or close by, like Ohio University. So it was like kind of near waters that I was checking out. So watching his stuff, I got introduced to like bass fishing. So it was kind of cool. I started watching him when he was like a teenager before he was famous. And he was like stomping all over the waters that I kind of knew. And I was like, oh, this is kind of neat. Yeah. You know, this young kid is like doing well on YouTube. And I don't know, that kind of got me inspired to do it. But we had a GoPro laying around from our honeymoon. We took it to Hawaii. It sat there. It sat after we went on our honeymoon for like 6 years, and I hadn't used it. And I was like, I go fishing. Let me take this along one day. And then, you know, I just had it on a pole to start out. And I just started YouTubing just to like make memories. I think I had 40 episodes filmed before I even started editing. Yeah, you see my comment. So yeah, it was I just started off kind of making memories. It was something cool, and Jen loved fishing, so you know we would go out together, and there weren't a lot of husband and wives that fished together that I saw. Yeah. So it was kind of cool to go out, you know, with your wife and fish. And she loves fishing, and yeah, and then it just became fun. And then, you know, I started getting feedback of people saying how much it meant to them that I was making these videos. And I get comments from like, you know, an 85-year-old man was like, oh, you take me back to my childhood. I can't get in the creeks anymore. I love watching your channel. It takes me back to all these places that I used to go. And, you know, thanks for doing this. And people were like, how my kid learned how to fish from watching you. And then I was like, oh man, this means something now. This is cool. So it's been awesome. Now we do like kids clinics and give away free stuff. And of course, teaming up with Cascade, we do a bunch of that stuff. So yeah, that's how I kind of got into it, just almost by accident, as far as like the YouTube world.
Yeah, you just started doing it. Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, I've fished with you and Jen twice. Have y'all come down to Tennessee twice now?
Twice, yeah.
And if you're looking for somebody that gets excited about fishing, yeah, check out their channel. That's what's fun. It's like we've waited, we've kayaked, we've done a few different things, and it's just fun. You know, we get out there and they're not putting on a show or anything. So whenever they're having fun, they're having fun. You know, and it's cool. But
I can't not get excited no matter how small the fish is. I'm catching little dings, panfish. I'm super pumped.
Eric Thomason over there, I stayed with him over the weekend, and he got 5th out of the fishing Kentucky lake. I wish I'd have known where a few of those fish were. He didn't share no information with me. No, he did good. I like fishing with those guys. I got to stay with a group. We stayed with it was like 8 or 9 of us stayed in a house for like 3 days.
Nice.
So that was fun, just doing that, hanging out, cooking some food.
Did you get up in the creeks in there, or were you hitting coves and stuff?
The water had dropped. They dropped the water on the lake, so like 90% of the creeks were too shallow to go up the channels. It was too flat. I did go up one creek, caught 2 fish out of there, and I'm like, well, this ain't gonna work. Turned to find out, I caught 2 keepers. It had to be over 12 inches. So I fished that. Me and Luke went up it. We thought, well, that was a waste. Only caught 2 keepers. I only caught 1 keeper the rest of the time fishing. So I thought it was nothing, but actually it was more than any other place I catch keepers. I kept catching 10, 11-inch bass, and it wasn't a ton of them, but I only caught 3 keepers in 2 days of fishing. 3 bass over 12 inches in 2 days of fishing.
Yeah, that's rough.
I was like, I would have bet all my fishing gear I would have caught at least 5 fish. I'm like, how's that even possible?
Right. At least fill the board.
I know. I'm like, I always think that to myself. That's, you know, as fishermen, and you're a ball player, you know, we're confident. Like when I play sports, and if I go to a gym right now, I'm showing up, I'm thinking I'm getting 10, 15 points. I'm gonna get some buckets. Like I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. When I go fish, I'm like, put me anywhere, give me a few hours, I'm gonna catch some fish. But that's the difference I've learned in like fishing tournaments. I like to compare it to basketball because that's what I know, like sports, basketball. But basketball, you can have an off night where you're not hitting, but you can always control, you know, what you can do. You can get fouled, you can drive, you can get layups. And fishing, if you're not around fish or you just can't find the fish, it's
lights out.
It is one of the most frustrating things. It's like, but also you're like, you keep thinking to yourself, would somebody else be catching fish if they were here? That's the worst. Like, would somebody else be here catching fish that I'm not catching, or am I just in an area where these fish are just not here? You know,
right?
And
here's a question for you, because I don't think paying attention to your kayak videos, you don't use any live scoping or anything, right?
no, I don't have any electronics or anything right now.
What is your opinion on that? Like, I love doing old school, and I mean, I don't hate on someone who's using, electronics or live scope, but I think it's more satisfying to me if I can find fish just off my knowledge and intuition and like knowing what they're doing and knowing behaviors and stuff like that, rather than like, I don't want to call it video game fishing, but it almost makes it like, oh, I see a fish, I'm going to cast there. Now you still got to get him to bite and all that, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, so right now in the kayak world, which there's a bunch of stuff going on right now. We even talked about this over the weekend with a bunch of the guys, and I've listened to probably 4 or 5 podcasts recently where they're talking about kayak rules and what could be changing. Right now, what's fun is you can have a guy in a Hobie that weighs 120 pounds with 100 pounds of gear, live scope and all, go out and fish, and you can have a guy like me, or well, the famous one is right now Drew Gregory, which most people know him in the fishing world, like as far as kayak fishing. He'll go up a creek without any live scope or anything, and or go up super shallow and find fish there. Like, you have a big diversity of how you can fish out of a kayak tournament.
Yeah,
I think they're going to make them more where everybody's going to go to having electronics and having motors and stuff. But there is also a thing called bare bones kayak tournaments that some people can do.
Yeah.
You almost
have to be a part of the live scoping if you want to try to compete against the guys, because it's tough trying to fish against guys that are, using electronics or live scoping and, can more easily find fish and pitch at them. It's almost like you have to catch up unless you're doing a bare bones tournament, which is, I think that's kind of cool. I wish there was more of those.
Yeah, and it depends on where you're at. Like around me, we have a lot of rivers, so I have more fun. Like, I'll kayak a river 100 to 1 over going out and fishing a lake. Like, I don't even care if the fish are smaller. I mean, that's way more fun to me.
Yeah.
But when you are doing these tournaments, I do like the kayak tournaments because it's pushed me to learn new things, and it's challenged me where I'm getting a different type of challenge that I haven't had, and I'm competing with people. So I am like going out to target bass, trying to catch bass, where most of my fishing, I hardly ever kayak a lake just for, hey, I'm just going to go out and kayak a lake. Like, I mean, I'll do that once every couple months. Like, I'll do it more in the wintertime because it's the weather changes, but I'm trying to do other stuff. But it's fun to get it. Everybody that gets into it, it's fun. And you don't have to, you can still compete without any kind of electronics or anything. You can go beat a bank and just kayak down a bank. And I've won like a couple of my local leagues, which, I mean, there's only like 30, 40 people in them, but I won 2 this year. Somehow I was at the right spot. I just went down some banks and, found fish. And then I did
is the key word. You found that big old spotted bass, didn't you, in one of those tournaments?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one of them. And then I did a Bass Nation where I got 6, and I fished a tiny creek. And it was just about being consistent. Like a lot of fishing tournaments is just consistent. Just, you don't have to kill it. Just get fish though, So, thanks, Tennessee Creek Angler. He got to come down here and fish. Appreciate that for donating some money. I'll go ahead and read this one. Matt, can you see comments on yours?
Yeah. I can see
any comment you want to pick out and read, just go ahead and like say, hey, I want to read this or answer this question.
Okay.
Thank you both for the great content y'all put out. I know I wouldn't be as knowledgeable as I am now if it weren't for you two. Keep it up. Man, appreciate that.
Thank you, Tennessee Creek Angler.
Tennessee Creek Angler can catch fish. I got to fish with him the other day. And it's funny. Like, you do this a lot, I'm sure, Matt. You take somebody out that's not a creek guy, and you take them in a tight spot or a little creek, and you're just like, no, don't do that. No, wait, stand back. No, don't go up there. You have to you're like, what are you doing? But they don't know. And then you take somebody that knows what they're doing, and you're like, this dude knows what he's doing. He knows how to cast in these tight spots.
You're like, look at him pitch under that branch. Yeah. He's definitely a creek dude.
and people, I know that I'm sure you're the same way. People ask me all the time, like, how do you cast like that? How do you learn how to cast? I'm like, I do it. Go out there and try to make casts in places that you want to get a cast to. and you will have to figure out how to learn. So like my casting is probably different than most people because I'm flipping under all the time. I'm underhand casting like all the time.
Yeah.
Like, well, let me throw this under there or flick it this way or something. But
yeah, me and Jen have a backyard game where we set up cups and buckets just to get her good at casting, and we do like a point system, and like, you know, throw up on top of the deck or under the deck, and there's little targets we play out in the backyard.
Yeah, Bass and Beer, he was one of the guys. Josh was one of the guys with us in the house, and I know I just watched your video, Josh, on it, and it was a tough weekend, especially if you're making videos. Like I haven't even started my video yet. Oh man, it's gonna be hard to put that thing together because there's like I got like 3 days worth of content, but like 10 fish in 3 days and stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about this. I want to hear, why do I need to know about Cascade? How is it going to help me creek fishing wise? Because that's what the people are here for. People are here for creek fishing.
Absolutely. Let me tell you what.
Matt, tell us about Cascade.
I'll tell you my how I even got associated with Cascade.
Yeah.
It's a cool, neat social media story. So I was at a meeting one day. I had entered a contest from a fishing guy that I knew. His name's Jay. And I entered a contest. He was giving away some baits. I used a hashtag, whatever, got in there. And then he picked me. And he was giving away baits. And apparently one of them was Cascade baits. And I messaged him back and I was like, hey, dude, I saw I won. And he goes, dude, I gave you 24 hours. You missed it by 15 minutes. I gave it to someone else. And I was like, oh no. And so he was like, I was like, well, that's cool, man. I was like, I appreciate you. I love your channel, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know what, man, I'm going to send you some baits anyway. And he sent me the Cascade jerk bait, suspending jerk bait. And it was in December. And I was having a rough go trying to creek fish in December because, you know, they tend to shut down. So I fished with it, made a quick video, caught 2 really nice smallies, like 2-pounders back to back in the creek. Put it on Instagram. Rick from Cascade reached out and was like, I love it, man. I went through your content. I love it. What do you think about joining the team? And we talked and he told me like his view on what he's looking for and what he wants, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll join the team, and made me a pro staffer. And, you know, not to make a long story short, but fast forward 2-3 years, 2.5, 3 years now. And now I'm their relations manager. So he's brought me on the team as well as being a pro staffer. And I've loved it. Cascade is Ohio based. They're up in, if you know, big cities near Akron, Ohio. So northeast Ohio, based out of there, and got almost every kind of line you want in Cascade. There's a bass line. There's a crappie line called Crap Slap. Slap the crappies up. And there's we got musky baits. There are walleye baits. There's a Sub-Zero line, which is ice fishing. And then there's even like hunting stuff like decoys. So it's called First Waterfowl. So it's kind of like a whole outdoors. And there's a bunch of accessories you can get and apparel and all kinds of great stuff. Really what got me to the team was Rick. Outstanding guy. And is now, you know, one of my best friends. Amazing dude. He really started the whole effort to get me and Jen, when Jen was going through her cancer battle last year. He started a GoFundMe to get us the IVF process, because we needed to create a baby essentially and freeze it before she got her cancer treatment. So I will forever be grateful for Rick for that. Awesome. Just an amazing dude, and irreplaceable guy, awesome friend. And Cascade is it's awesome. It's a growing brand. Rick is right now focusing on crappie, and next year is going to be like the year for pushing bass, the bass line. Crappie right now is really taking off for Cascade. All kinds of stuff in the crappie world taking off. Big tournaments. The Dale Hollow Shootout is coming up in November. So we'll be doing the expo, and I'll be there working the booth in the expo.
When is that? November?
November, around the 9th, 10th, 11th, I think. It's called the Dale Hollow Shootout.
3.5. Where are you going to do it at? Are you going to be on the lake? Like, is there
going to be like the tournament's on the lake, but there's an expo close to it. Rick, if you're in the chat, if you can type where exactly that expo is.
That's cool. I'd love to come up to that.
November 10th, 11th, and
3.5 hours, 3.5 hours away.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I
like trying to. That's a thing where this is just for for a year, same thing. You're for content creators, something that you have to get into is like go into things like that. Where I've never been to like any kind of fishing show, any kind of thing, meeting or like not a meet and greet, but like any kind of like fishing expo or any of these things. And I went to the first one was last year in Knoxville, like first one I've ever been to. And I'm like, how have I not gone to these things? These are awesome.
Yeah.
This is fishing these booths. I'm just walking around looking at all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. This will be the
I
first time
met
I'm
like
on
a ton
the
of
other
people
side
that
of
like
one.
do what?
This will be the first time I'm on the other side of one.
Yeah.
I've gone to a few just as a shopper and just to experience it, but never to like.
I got this. I stayed. The NIKKO guys invited me to stand by the booth one day. I only had one day because I start. So everybody knows, or anybody that doesn't know, I start basketball next week. I start practice, so it limits what I can do. A lot of stuff. But so I had one day. It was like Saturday, and I stood there all day and got to meet a bunch of people and stuff like that. But and also supposedly like and I got to like introduced to other brands that I've never seen before or not aware of. They're not in your normal stores. Clay County Fairgrounds.
Clay County Fairgrounds.
Sounds like a great place. I have no idea. But yeah, that's that. I'll look into that. I would love to come up and see that. What's so tell me what kind of lures you would use. Like what's a Cascade lure that you're going to use like just going out fishing in a creek?
Well,
like,
I'll tell you a few. Rick actually made a branded box, the Matt's Fish and Mission Pro box.
dude.
And it's specifically my like choices. And that's what we put the he made like these baseball cards for the
That's sick.
The team anglers. So you get the
awesome.
If you buy it, you get a signed one from me. But what I picked out in that box is the square belly, which is a 1 to 3 foot diving square bill crankbait. Probably one of the most well balanced crankbaits I've ever thrown. It's super durable. It's got perfect wobble, and it's a floating crankbait, so you can play with the action as far as the depth. So that's in my pro box, and then everything is geared towards creeks. So I've got that. I've got, of course, the classic white grub, little 2-inch white grub.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Perfect. I've got a 3-point, like a 3.8-inch paddle tail, and like a really dark color. So in case I've got muddier water, dark colors typically work good in stained water. Then I've got what's called our slug bug. It's almost like a crawl and a beaver style bait mixed together. It's got really big flappy legs to it.
How big is it? What's that?
It is. I'll tell you what. It is. It's about 3.5 inches. This is the slug bug.
Oh, that's cool looking. That's a good. I like. That's a cool
really
like
kicking legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, this is everything in it. That's the green hollow.
You love your crankbaits. Like I don't use them near as much, but I know you wear them out in it.
Yep.
With it. I guess I need to try them more.
And then I've got, of course, a good Hellgrammite. You can't go creek fishing without a good Helgie.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Oh, that's a good slim one too. I like that.
Alien Blood is the color I chose for my box. And then some tackle. So you get some. I got some, offset EWGs and some little moon eye jigs for the grubs and stuff like that. So that's all in the kit. Yeah,
that's like 40, so that kit's ready to go. You don't need nothing.
$45. Yeah, you need everything. You even get the box to like a tackle box that it comes in. So all you got to do is throw it in your backpack and you're ready to go.
So not to take away from your brand, but that's the thing. Like I work with Pradco. Like that sponsors my channel, and I got boxes of their lures. And I've had you, and I've had several other guys, Ethan, Mule Fishing. You know his stuff. I know you might know him, but like I want, even if I'm sponsored by anybody, I want to know about all the creek stuff. Like that's what this channel is for, or that's really why I started the podcast. I want to introduce people to all kinds of brands. Like, and if you have one that's your favorite, stay with it. But there's nothing wrong with trying other ones. Like you've never heard of, like I haven't used much Cascade stuff, really. You gave me a couple things, but I'm like, you know what? I need to try some of this stuff.
I'll send you a care package. We'll get you hooked up.
Hey, I'll take it. It's a little late. So let's transition from that. And if anybody's looking for Cascade or interested, real easy to find. I also put the link to their channel in the video description. But like I said, you can get on there. So like run down real quick what all you got. So you got like creek bass lures, you got crappie lures now.
Crappie lures. almost every
line.
kind of hard bait. So there's like a walk the dog spook style bait, poppers, suspending jerk baits, wobble jerk baits, crank baits. There's even gigantic, I don't know if you can see it in the background there, big 8.5-inch musky glide bait.
What's that trophy from?
Oh yeah, I won my local tournament from the Little Miami Conservancy. It's a nonprofit that helps clean up the river, and they put on a tournament. And I won that last year.
I thought I was gonna be like, yeah, it was a dunk competition.
Yeah,
I won slam dunk contest.
There's a bigger trophy around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So almost everything you think of. I don't know that there's a bait that isn't in the lineup that Rick either doesn't have or he's already got it on the way, because I know he's got a bunch of bass stuff coming around the corner for next year.
That's cool. I love seeing like little companies grow and just take off and find people that love to get behind them, and that's what's cool. Like I've had the opportunity to work with a few different brands, and I'm not working with the brands now because I couldn't get behind it.
Yeah,
and it was like rod and reel stuff mostly, but like it's, you find those ones that you feel comfortable behind, and it's like it makes it better. It makes it awesome. You're like, you know what? I can be with this. I believe in this. I like what they're doing. And then obviously they're listening to you. They put together a Matt's Fishing Mission box, which is awesome.
Right.
So I'm like, that's cool. So I'm supposed to be getting one with the company, but it's a bigger company, so it takes a lot longer to do anything. Yeah. But I'm happy. So that's cool, man. So what about rod and reels? You got any rod and reel stuff or what? Or is that something maybe?
Yeah, actually, Cascade just launched rod and reel setups. So I've got size 500, 1,000, and 2,000 Cascade reels.
Okay.
And then he just put out a what's called the Crappie Pro, which is like a fast action.
I saw you using that. I didn't know that was a Cascade rod.
Yeah, so he did a deal with Lures Pro to create a Cascade line. So Lures Pro.
Say that again.
Lures Pro.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a bass rod called the Master Series, and then a crappie rod, which is like a fast, almost like an ultralight. It's not quite an ultralight; it's a light action.
I love a light. I saw you using it, and a light. That's one of my favorite. A light fast action rod.
Yeah,
it's so fun because it's an awesome perfect multi-species. Like you can catch small fish, have fun. If you catch a big fish, you can still handle it, and it's not too wimpy.
The Crappie Pro one has been my go-to for everything creek. I love using it. Not that I don't use like the big one, but I just, man, it feels so much fun to fight even a 2-pounder, like a pound and a half or 2-pounder on like a light action rod, because you're like, oh, you don't know what's coming. It adds excitement.
That's the fun. That's the thing, and that's what I like. You were talking about earlier. I like watching and seeing channels like you that. It's fun to fish for fish. You don't have to get upset when, hooked a drum, or I hooked a striper. Why did that striper bite? You're like, I hate those. I'm like, I'll find myself doing that in a tournament every once in a while because I'm like so focused on bass fishing. But when I'm fishing, and I don't care what bites. If it bites, I'm like, yeah. What do I got? Yep. What is this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just fun to fish.
Have you've been fishing a while? Have you noticed any changes? And and you've been paying attention to YouTube for a while too. So, like, have you noticed a change in how like our type of fishing has taken off, where it's more common to see it's less looked down upon than it used to be? I felt like it used to be like looked down upon. And
if you weren't a tournament boat angler, you were a nobody. You were you were like a scrub.
It took me a while to get going. So a lot of my early videos didn't get a lot of views because it kind of really took a while. But when I started, I've been doing it for 6 years now, so I've been making videos for a long time on YouTube. That's a long time on YouTube, anyways. Yeah. And like. I remember a lot of comments. Why are you showing catching small fish? Why, blah blah blah. Stuff like that. Where now there's a lot of guys out there doing this type of fishing. And if you catch a 8-inch smallmouth or 18-inch smallmouth, we're like that's awesome. And I'm not cutting out the 8-inch one. I'm still showing it and still having fun catching it.
I think it's because people are interested I'm not going to say they're less interested in the fish, but I think people are more interested in the experience of the adventure of like what we're doing, because not a
Yeah.
lot of people get their feet wet in the water and go creek fishing like we do,
Yeah.
wet wading and wading in the water. You see a lot of bank and boat guys, but I think the uniqueness of getting in the water and taking someone down a river on your feet is a different, unique experience. And people are like going on that journey with you, whether or not you're catching big, small, none, anything. It's
Yeah.
just like going on a hike and going on an adventure with people.
Yeah, it is. And that's why, I mean, if if I'm not waiting, then if I'm kayaking a river, it's the same where you're moving, like you're totally changing. You're going on a trip. So,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you're in whatever you come across, that's what you come across. If it's a turtles, snakes, eagles, and then you catch some fish along the way, it's all part of the trip. It's not just I'm out here in my boat and all you can see is water. And if I don't catch 4 and 5 pounders, what's the point of coming out?
Yeah.
So that is cool.
One of these comments. Thank you, Alvin. Alvin said he just ordered Matt's kit. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You're going to catch some fish.
You can
have you entertained at all? I know you do a lot on YouTube. Have you entertained anything on TikTok?
No, I actually have that written down about TikTok. No. So I started a channel twice.
On TikTok?
Yeah. And I don't know how to get back into it. And no, I hate editing. Like, I'm not a good editor. I edit my videos. I've got that down, how to do them for YouTube. Like, extra stuff, I don't put the effort into, or don't want to put the effort into. I've tried to do some reels and shorts, but so I was going to ask you. So go ahead and talk about TikTok.
Here's the thing: you don't have to be like the classic TikTok editing guy, where you're making like funny stuff.
Yeah,
like some of the people that are on purposely making content that is like entertainment or fun or jokes or stuff like that. You may have to do that to get your first 1,000 followers, but after you get 1,000 followers and you can go live, I almost exclusively use it. I use it to post my shorts on there. So my little 30-second, 60-second videos. But other than that, I love going live. It's a whole different experience. And I've noticed that comparing, again, the uniqueness of taking someone down the river first person, especially when you're doing it live and you're walking down the river, because I use my chest mount when I just put my phone on there. I like when I'm watching people fish, I see people holding like 50, 100 live viewers. But when I started, I only had like 1,000, 2,000 followers. I was holding like 500, 1,000 viewers live at a time, which I was baffled by. I was like, how am I getting this many live people? And I was asking people, and I think it's a mix of like the uniqueness of what you're doing and also keeping people engaged in the comments. So I hit up someone who does 3D printing, and I made this little 3D printed thing. So I make my TikTok live experience. A viewer chooses the lure. So I'll put 4 lures in there and I'll show it to the camera and I go, you guys pick in the comments 1 through 4, you vote. And then they pick the lure. And so they stay engaged to be like, I want to see if my lure catches something. And
this guy over here fishing in 2030, outdoing us all. They're fishing. They're in your body. They put a headset on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey.
I know. It's like a VR.
That's crazy. That's thinking ahead. And
yeah. I was like, let's make this a different experience. You pick what I fish with. You guys tell me when to change. You pick what I fish with. And yeah.
I was at my buddy Derek's house, Simonis, and posting shorts and stuff. And he's like, you gotta do TikTok. I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But
I resisted it for so long. I was like, I do not want to be on this teenage dance app. Dude, don't put me on this app. And then I saw people like doing what I would think I would do. And I was like, okay, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
And it pays pretty well too.
So you get money from the live pays?
Yeah, people give you gifts on lives. And I mean, I've tried it for a month and a half and 2 months, and I've already deposited, I don't know, $400 or $500. Huh. So that's
pretty
good. Yeah.
I got a friend that he does live on YouTube and fishing. Like, he was doing it all the time and making like $600-700 every time. He was really getting it going and getting a lot of, and like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't do live. I'm this right here. This is me branching out. doing a live stream.
Right.
This is like I said, this is the 9th episode I've done it, and I missed 1 week. So like for 10 weeks I've been doing this, and I've thought about that, and I've thought kind of like what you're doing. Like I was thinking, what am I need to step out on YouTube or social media stuff? You got to keep advancing. Like you can't. Like my YouTube channel is doing great. Just crossed 125,000 subscribers, by the way, dude. I'm pumped.
Congrats.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like,
awesome.
This is crazy. But at the same time, I know it can dwindle away in 6 months or a couple years. It could just, if I'm not evolving or just keeping up with stuff. So I started the second channel for putting like extra things on, maybe do live stream, and I'm like, who knows? Maybe I'll find out that doing live streams is something I'm really good at or I really like. So far, I like it. It's fun, but I'm probably not the greatest at it. But I know a lot of people make a lot of money through live streams or like get sponsors for it. I'm like, I need to pick up a couple sponsors for this to make like, somebody pay me. Hey, just throwing this out there. Somebody want to pay me a little bit of money, I'll shout their name out. Just kidding.
For sure. Yeah.
But anyways, it was fun. So I was going to ask, since you are a master content creator, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I don't even know what the other ones are. What's your favorite? What's your main and your favorite thing to go on? Like your main platform or favorite platform?
I mean, YouTube probably. I think TikTok I like second best only because of the interaction experience. Like you're in the moment talking to people, having like it's almost like having a conversation, which is it's different for me. Which also kind of made me realize that I need to probably do more vocal engagement on my YouTube videos because it seemed to be more engaging. So YouTube is my favorite to work on. I love editing. I'm a photographer by trade, so it's kind of in my field of expertise, my field of just what I do normally. I
gotta address this because so
we're gonna get a generator.
McKay Southern Electrical is I did a sponsor last 2 weeks. Them, I'm not getting paid for it yet, but if somebody buys a generator, I'm gonna get $100. And it's my brother-in-law owns the company, and it's in it's right down the road from where I live. So it's in East Tennessee. It used to be called McKay Southern Electrical. Now it's McKay Southern. They're in Riceville, Tennessee. They're I forgot today is the one I didn't put the info up there, but they're from Chattanooga to Knoxville, Tennessee area. If you need a generator, I'll if you want to find out their information, I'll put it in the video description. I forgot to do it. I got it in the last week's video description. And their numbers, stuff like that's in there. So sorry, Steve. I don't know if he's a joke or if you're being serious. I don't know if that's from like last week. But you can't
He's giving you the plug. He's giving you the plug.
Yeah, there we go. You gave me a chance to bring it up. All right, here's a couple questions I got for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna run down through some stuff and then we'll still have time to talk. Dude, by the way, you're my best guest so far. I got 52 people on here.
There we go.
They came to see Matt. They also was it last week or the week before? I had Matt. Like everybody in the comments was like, "Oh, we want Matt on." I'm like, "Dude, calm down. It's not that cool." No, you're a big hit around here. So,
hey, I'll come back anytime you need guests, man.
People like that. They're creek fishing.
Last week when you were talking about someone meeting you and they were just like, "Man, you're a big dude." I thought that I get the same thing.
Yeah,
but when I met you, I had the same experience. Like I was like, "Man, John's as tall as I am. Like this is a big dude."
Yeah. Yeah. For anybody that weren't on here earlier, but we started off. Me and Matt were talking basketball, and I came on late because we got carried away. We both big basketball fans, and
tonight
I was you know what season. I was going to start off the start off the video asking about NBA, but I knew everybody watching would just turn it off right away. I guess every time I even mention NBA, I get so much hate. I can't stand those guys. I'm like, well, I like it. I like watching it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about it, but I'm a basketball guy. I can't get that out of me. Okay, here's a question for you. Where's it at? Since you are a content creator, what is something about doing this that unexpected, that's like an unexpected positive and then like an unexpected negative that's come out of making videos or being being on social media type stuff? Like, what's something that's like you didn't expect this, that's really cool, and then something that you didn't expect that's like, oh man, I have to deal with this part.
The unexpected positive by far and away was joining Cascade.
Yeah.
I did it when I had less than 1,000 subscribers. So in my eyes, I was a nobody on YouTube. Like I still only have like 2,500. It's still like itty bitty. So it's like that was by far and away. I was blown away that Rick even offered it to me, and blown away at both the friendship and the positive experiences that have come from working with Cascade. Not even close. That's the best thing that's happened from Cascade. I've made so many friendships through that circle of people that are in Cascade, and Rick's now one of my best homies, and he's done so much for us. So yeah, that's by far and away. Negative, there's not much. I mean, I don't know. Like you'll get some hate in the comments, but I usually just ignore those. I don't know. I mean, everything's been pretty positive.
Is there anything that's harder than you thought it would be? Maybe doing it, maybe trying to stay consistent or something.
Making winter content is always a challenge because we're in that funky state, like in Cincinnati. Like the people 2 hours north of me get ice fishing, and and I guess I could go south into Kentucky, Tennessee to do some fishing, but winter content is a struggle for a married guy who can't like jump in the truck and just go to Arkansas or I don't know, Texas or wherever you want to go. But yeah, I think making winter content is probably over the past 3 years of doing YouTube, I end up going to doing shorts, like highlights of my previous year, just to keep the channel somewhat fresh, I guess. But now that I've got this podcasting space, I just said literally we got to set up today. Dude, I think we're going to do some similar stuff.
No limit now.
I know. Yeah. We'll be interviewing guests and doing what you're doing now. Yeah.
I think it's fun. And the people that, like, not everybody gets on there, but I've been getting so many like comments were like, oh dude, I loved it. It was just fun hanging out with y'all or talking or whatever. And I try to get to all the comments and stuff, but here's one that we can talk about. Samuel says, how do y'all feel about this early cold weather we're getting here in the Southeast, which my area more? Are the creeks shutting down in your area yet? I would say yes. There's already a difference.
Yeah.
There's already a difference in the creeks around me. And I could spend an hour or more talking about creeks around me because I have and everything. Creeks are so unique, and one creek could be 10 miles from another creek and be totally different. So I have a lot of mountain streams, and they shut down super early. Like they just drop, and it's like, well, don't even go there. There's no point going there. And then there's some creeks that are a couple of hours away from me, that are flatter, and those are like you probably right now is probably really good bass fishing if you're trying to catch some big smallmouth in them. But they're a little further away where I don't get to them as much, And then I could go south 2 or 3 hours, and they change again where there's different fishing. But for all in all, the creeks around me are definitely slowing down. Where I've already gone to a few where I'm like, man, I can't catch them. They're not biting that good. It's like, I've only picked out a few fish today. I thought it'd be easy to get them.
The difference in 3 weeks ago is night and day. Like 3 weeks ago, I was catching, it's still like 15, 20 in a creek session. And I went out the other day and it was like 3 in the same creek. Now the creeks are clearer and they're a lot lower. Everything's going to winter pool. Like we don't have any mountain fed anything here. So everything we hear other than like 2 main rivers is all Army Corps of Engineer controlled. So all the lakes are getting down to their winter pool. So they're draining out a little bit, and which is going to make the creeks run a little bit low. So it's good and bad because in the creeks in the winter, you got to find your deep holes. So if you can find the deep holes, what we would call like a wintering pool, those are going to be the areas to target. So you skip over your riffles and find that big deep wintering hole, and you might run into a good school of bass. Just slow it down. That's the thing in creeks. If you find the wintering pool, slow it down, jig the bottom, wait 10 seconds between every twitch. You'll eventually catch a nice hungry smallmouth.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It depends. Like I got some creeks that don't have smallmouth, they're largemouth, and those are a lot harder. Those largemouth don't stay near as active like smallmouth will in creeks. So there's a difference between that too. It depends on where you're at, because smallmouth are a lot more active in that colder water and stuff. But
yeah, Mike, that's my buddy. He's been on my channel a bunch.
Oh,
He
okay.
knows how he knows how the creeks are.
Is that the guy you fish with?
Yeah. He's in my
Okay.
waiting league. He was tied
Yeah.
for first place for a minute there.
I appreciate that. That's another thing. And I appreciate Matt also having a good, clean channel where I can recommend him and don't have to worry about what, like, well, I let so and so watch this person, and then they were talking like this. You know,
if we let something slip, I always make sure to give it the blank beep, or not even beep, but I blank it out with the audio in case someone slips up live or in the moment.
And I know I have a lot of friends, and I've fallen. You know, that's a thing. I could talk about that, which I don't care. Like, everybody's different. Some people are gonna have different language, and I might recommend that person. Like, I think this is a good channel. Everybody needs to decide for themselves. And if you have kids watching, I mean, you need to. I think that you really need to monitor what they're watching before you just let them watch whoever. And that's anything on the internet, that not just fishing channel. So
I wanted to mention, John, I would say you inspired me a bit, and some other channels to work the gospel into my channel when I can, and I even in my new logo, I kind of did a double entendre with the Matt's Fishing Mission, which is always be on mission, which is kind of a double entendre for a fishing mission and be on mission for God. And so we put the Matthew 7:7 at the bottom of the logo now. So
that's awesome. That's cool, man. I've thought about trying.
I appreciate that. That's one of the probably the one of the things that attracted and kept me to your channel, other than the fishing. And I was like, just a good, clean Christian channel.
Yeah,
and I always appreciate that about your channel.
I appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that. That means a lot to me. And I know it's, and I talk about it sometimes. And I planned one out. I'm gonna have like a little, not a devotion, but like a little teaching moment. I've already got planned out for a video. It's actually the video I did really bad in, and but I got this whole thing that, like, I was like reading my Bible like 2 days afterwards, and I like read this verse. I'm like, dude, that applies perfectly to what I just went through. I'm like, I'm going to share this. I don't always share a lot of stuff, but I think you can show that you're a Christian by. I think we should show that we're a Christian by just how we do everything. I don't have to say, hey, I'm a Christian. You got right. I'm a Christian. Like, I shouldn't have to like come at people like that.
Right.
And I mean, that's part of being a part of being a Christian, and being a light and sharing to people. Somebody said they bought a hoodie, sweatshirt. I appreciate that. Let's see here, because it's finally cold enough. Yeah. Represent my channel. I'm coming out with a new design. I got it set. I got my new design set today. Went and they're just doing they got to send me an email, but I'm liking the way it's going to look. I think it's going to be cool. So hopefully people will be excited about that.
Heck yeah.
I'm trying to read any comments. Anybody had any comments?
Someone said something about the waiting league. Did we touch on the waiting league?
No, we haven't. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about that if nobody else. Let's see here. I'm gonna get a couple of these and I'm gonna ask you about that. So Parksville, the lake, they don't lower it typically. They don't lower the water in the wintertime. It's one of the lakes around here that doesn't get lowered. They will every once in a while if they're trying to do dock repair, but for the most part, they're not gonna lower the water. Well, it's not like all the other ones. All the other lakes still lower it for a long time. Parksville usually don't lower it for a long time. And so I was there the other day and it was normal. So I haven't seen it, but I already know all the other lakes, all the other TVA dams, they're already lowered for the people around here. So they lower the lakes and makes it different. Let's see here. Jesus first. Fishes them in.
Amen.
Micah says, I love the logo, Matt. All glory to God.
Absolutely.
Let's see here.
Creeks for Weeks says, question for Matt. Pros and cons of the LMR versus GMR. And for locals, that's the Little Miami River and the Great Miami River. Also, Dayton anglers versus Cincy anglers. Love both your channels. I would say Great Miami River. Now, there is a small caveat to that. The Little Miami River splits into the East Fork Little Miami. And if anyone watches my channel, the East Fork Little Miami is in my backyard. And East Fork, Miami, over any river that I fish, other than maybe the Cuyahoga. We had a heck of a time the last 2 times I went to the Cuyahoga. We caught 80 smallmouth in like 3 hours the first trip, and then the next trip, me and Rick from Cascade caught 100 smallmouth to win first and second in a YouTubers tournament. Crazy. 100 smallmouth, unbelievable. I couldn't believe we pulled that off.
That's a good day. That's a good day right there. All right, so here it is. Ramon's waiting. So tell us about this waiting league. So I see here, I got NAPRA.
NAPRA.
What is that?
National Association of Professional River Anglers. It's napraprowaiting.com. Pete, who's in the chat here under NAPRA, he's in the chat. He started this league like 17, 18 years ago, and got guys to just join a league like you would a bowling league and get together and go out and fish together. And now he's developed it into a series, and a brand that you're familiar with, Pradco, picked it up as like a national sponsorship along with Cascade was the Ohio series title sponsor last year, along with a bunch of other local sponsors. But he split it last year into two, and I'm not sure how long. I joined last year for the first year, into 2 series, and it was the Ohio series and the Elite series. The Elite series, you would all meet together at a river, and then split up. You know, you could go 3 miles this way, 3 miles that way, and then you'd meet up at the end and you do like a weigh-in. You just present your pictures and fill out your scorecard. And then the Ohio series was you could pick your own water in Ohio anywhere you wanted. And the only caveat was you had to make sure you did not fish your same spot 2 weeks in a row, which I thought was cool. That's what forced me to go to like
that's cool.
Different waters and made me not hit my honey holes and like go and find some different cool new juice. And so he's got a whole new setup coming out in 2023 for the waiting series, and he's looking to expand it more than just the Ohio and Cincinnati, Dayton region. He's going to try to expand it regionally and nationally, and kind of push that out with I know Pradco behind it is a big brand. So they renamed it the I'm going to mess this up. Pete might want to type this in chat, but it's like the Yum series something, and then the Boss series. I know I messed that up, so Pete can probably type that in the chat. But yeah, it's cool. It's I would love to see it branch out in like Tennessee, in places like in the mountain where creeks. You know, I'm sure you got plenty of creek anglers out there, creek wading guys. You know, all you need is 20, 30 guys to form a league. I mean, you probably don't even that much. You need like 10, 15 guys.
Only thing I'm like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure regional is a huge play in it because it's like region, but and around me there's so many lakes and there's so many like bass fish. Everybody around here has a bass boat, like everybody. You know,
you got so many great lakes down there too.
Yeah, we got awesome lakes. So kayak fishing is getting big. The Yum Elite Series and the Boss Bandit. Oh, okay, so Yum and Bandit both by Pradco companies. That's cool. I'm trying to think how it would work. I'm trying to think where we would go, like to just do waiting, because I wonder if it's the difference in the terrain, or like I know some creeks that are awesome, but they're almost all on private property. Like they're the best creeks I know of, and I have to I kind of got to sneak into them.
Yeah,
there's technically places where people go and wade, but it is on private property. They just don't care.
Technically, I mean, almost every place I wade is private property because it's just how it is. Like you enter at public places like a bridge, a state bridge, or a state road bridge, but like literally when you're in the water, technically you're on someone's property somewhere. I mean,
so that's the only thing I'm wondering about, and like, that's one of those things. It's awesome. It's small. If it got big, it could get. I don't know how that works. I mean, obviously he's been doing it for a long time, so I don't understand. I don't know it all, and it's very interesting. Like I've never even thought about it. I do a lot of wading and stuff, but like any place I wade up north, there's some bigger rivers that are more wadeable, where they're a river and it's wadeable. Most places I wade are small creeks where you couldn't get very many people. Like you're not gonna have enough holes to fish in. But like in the Northeast Tennessee, there's some of the Holston rivers. People wade a lot of those and catch a lot of fish. But I guess it was spread out to a lot of things. It'd be cool, but
Yeah.
In Georgia, you don't want to do it. They're super extra strict in Georgia. Even though I mean, there's places I've waited, but yeah. Now it's a really interesting thing. And anybody in Ohio, I would jump on that and get involved in that.
Yeah, it's fun, especially if you're even if you're not in the Dayton area. If you want to do the Boss Series, that's the open stream, so you could be anywhere in Ohio. And I'm not going to spoil too much about what Pete's got going on, but I know he's working on tracking catches and GPS and stuff like that. But he can roll that out when he's ready to do that. But yeah, it's the open series is going to be nice because then you don't have to meet in person. You can fish your streams around where you want to in the state, and so if you live in the Northeast, you can fish there. If you live way down in the corner by Cincinnati, you can fish there. Awesome series though. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how I found it. I think I was just scrolling through YouTube groups and I found it, and I was like, a waiting league. How interesting! Like that's exactly what I do. I'm going to try to join this.
I'm gonna answer a question. I fished the Conasauga. It's my favorite river. So I don't usually put the name of it in there, but anytime I mention I fished my favorite river, it's the Conasauga. It is so awesome. And then the Coahulla Creek runs into the Conasauga, but the Coahulla Creek is all private. And I have fished it too because I got a buddy that's got land on it. So that's a creek. It's not a big creek, but I know I got a friend I used to do heating and air with. He's got like 500 acre stretch of land. I've fished on it. But anyways, all right. I got another question.
Yeah.
So all right, we talked about that. That was really cool. I wonder if that can grow. Oh, so in our kayak tournaments, we take a picture through Tourney X. Do y'all use Tourney X?
Not yet, Pete, because we're kind of a tight knit group. Pete just has us send it straight to him. It's kind of like on the honor system. I know now that he's growing, I think he's thinking about
I know it's a fee. You got to. I mean, they cost to use Tourney X, but when we do Tourney X, take a picture and it has a it has a GPS track. So wherever you take that picture at, when you send it in, whoever is approving it, they're looking at it and saying
knows exactly where you caught it.
Where it came from.
Yeah.
But yes, the Conasauga has a lot of Kusa bass. Did you get to fish the Conasauga when you came down? I know you fished Mouse Creek and caught some Kusa bass.
Mouse Creek, and then what was that place that I sent? I fished that place that got the low head dam with the gar that I told you about. I don't even remember what that creek was.
Yes, I went up there
it's an old
later to try to find it. There was a guy fishing. I wasn't sure where you parked it. I was like, did you just like park on the side? There was like a little section, and then like
there was a big deck almost, and the old mill is sitting there, and there's like there's like 20 parking spaces. You just park in the gravel.
Maybe I went to a different one.
Maybe,
but
yeah, when I went, there were guys bow fishing for gar. And when I caught mine, I was having trouble getting in. They were like, "Can we shoot it?" I was like, "Please help me!" Like, I ended up snapping my pole. It was like a 4.5 foot gar, and it cracked me off.
That's crazy. All right, I got another question for you. Let's see here. I try to write down a few things so I can use it for where's it at? So I'd say I take it that smallmouth bass is probably your favorite fish to fish for, right?
By far and away. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Smallmouth bass for freshwater. If I would have to pick a saltwater, because I grew up in Florida, I would have to say mahi mahi. Fun to find those schooled up.
It's just fun to say mahi mahi.
Mahi.
I don't know what that is. I hear people say that, but I don't know what it is.
I caught the state fish in Hawaii, and it's called the humu humu nuku nuku wapu wa'a. I learned that specifically because I caught it. I caught the Hawaii state fish.
That's cool. What is your favorite lure? All right. I'll take you back a month ago. You get to go back a month. You're going to your favorite creek river. You got one lure to catch some smallies on. What are you throwing?
Either a grub or a 2-inch paddle tail. 2-inch grub or 2-inch paddle tail. One of those two. If I had to pick one, I'm going grub. White grub. Classic.
I don't use the grub as much. I know a lot of people do, but I don't know what it is. I've so gotten into baits that I'm drifting in current and do nothing with. I am a big believer in do nothing baits. Throw them out there like your little grub or that little creature bait.
Yeah.
Throw it in a pool, just let it tumble around, let it fall to the bottom, and don't touch it for like 10 seconds or more, and then like kind of twitch it up. That's my, I don't know. I can't stop doing that. So whenever I used to love swim baits and like little things, and now I like hardly use them. But anyway, yeah, you're right. You'll kill them on that. Here's a question real quick. Best smallmouth baits this time of the year in the rivers.
In the rivers, as it starts to cool down and the fish get a little bit more dormant, you got to work the bottom. So I would probably suggest something Ned rigged or like a nub or that's our Ned rig at Cascade. Something that's going to be, I don't know. Like I was showing you the slug bug earlier. I would probably use something like this only because you could let that sit on the bottom and just twitch it. Or if you get a reaction strike, you can move that along.
Yeah.
So like a creature bait with some good leg action that you could also rig on a jig, just standing there.
I'll say I probably like something on the bottom or a jig to throw in the deep holes. The fish,
nothing beats a helgie.
Like this is Hellgrammite, or I like the Dinger with stick bait, Ned rig, something like that, where you're throwing it down in a hole and you're just barely moving on the bottom. And I've gotten so much confidence in working a bait like that slow because fishing in creek. I tell people this all the time. Like I have so much confidence in a Hellgrammite or a Dinger or something like that, throwing it out there and giving it tons of time to sit and do nothing, because I've seen it over and over and over again. I'll throw it in front of fish that I see in a creek. They will sit and look at that thing and don't care. They'll move off, they come back. They move off, they come back. And then finally
that twitch, and then it's lights
like
out.
That. Yeah, they're looking. I love it. I love it when
waiting
they get closer,
for it to do something. Yeah.
Then they're like, and you're like, yeah. And then you jerk too soon and you miss them. That's what I always do. I'm always like, yes. Oh, why did I set the hook so hard?
Oh, yeah. The good old creamsicle Dinger, man. Yeah. That's become, you've had to sold 1,000 packs of those.
I wish I could track how many of those have been sold. I hear about it from everybody. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Steve Brockway says, what is a hillbilly depth finder? Please elaborate. So this is a joke I made on my channel. A hillbilly depth finder is you'll know this when you go creek wading, you see a rope swing. That's a hillbilly depth finder. I know there's a deep hole there if I see a rope swing.
Yeah. You're like, look at that. Okay,
there's
deep
some depth
over
there. Yep, yeah. I know no one's gonna jump into 1 foot of water. There's a hillbilly depth finder.
What's up, creek crawler? This guy knows a thing or two. At least that's what he says. I don't know. He knows about getting them. And I've liked to watch him change a lot of his lures. Like he's evolving and using different things and catching fish. And I think that's fun about putting our content on YouTube, how we evolve as an angler and change. Like what I was using a year ago, I might not be using now, or not near as much, or 2 years ago. It changed. I started making some videos finally. What's my favorite rod setup? What's my favorite this way setup? People would ask me that for years, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite is because I change it every 3 months.
Yeah.
So
man, I went back and looked some of my old videos, and I can't tell you the time I threw like a rooster tail spinner, and I threw those non-stop like 3 years ago. All I would throw is those rooster tail spinners.
Let me just answer the question. Oh, you froze up on me. Yeah. And that's another one. I'm like, why don't I throw a rooster tail anymore? I'm like, they work, but it's
they work really well. Yeah,
I just don't grab them. This is for my area. Does Mouse Creek turn into Candace Creek? Have you ever fished from Stump City on Candace Creek? I actually don't know which one Stump City is. I probably have, but I don't actually know which one Stump City is. But no, Candace Creek and Mouse Creek do not connect. They both run into the Hiwassee River. Those are the two creeks in my town that go straight through town. They both run straight to the river, and they don't cross. So, but I think they're totally different.
One of the coolest moments that in bait fishing or like fishing like lures, I was actually with you, and I think we saw it at the same time. It was when River to Sea came out with the Whopper Plopper 60. And I think we were in that local bait shop and we were both like, what is this new size? Take them all.
Yeah. I got to try that now. Yeah. I started using the Chapo 75. What's their small size?
I've never thrown the Chapo.
And it's a little different. I used to always use the 90 and the Whopper Plopper 90 and the Chapo 90. Now the 75 is like my favorite.
75. It's got the fat belly on it. The 75.
It's not as fat as the Whopper Plopper ones. It's like a little slimmer.
Okay.
But it's got an awesome size to it, and I've caught some really good fish on it.
I found a company that sells blanks. I don't know if it's the actual brand, but me and Cincy Fish Dudes, another local YouTuber, painted our own blanks. He's got an airbrush set up, and I was like, so we painted these own. I don't know. It was just a random blank company.
Oh, so that's not like that's just your generic. Somebody just made that.
Yeah, it was just a blank, crystal clear, and we put eyes on them. We put sparkle fleck, and made our own topwater essentially. Plopper, it was kind of fun. Oh, there he is, Cincy Fish Dudes, my man. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that. What's probably, and I would say Cincy Fish Dudes is probably my closest now friend that I've made through YouTube, just strictly from YouTube. Have you made any like people that you would now consider like, hey, that's my dude, like, you know, someone that's a close friend, or what are some of the close relationships you've made through
a bunch,
YouTube?
I'd say.
I would say I know you fished with Reed a bunch, right?
Yeah, I haven't fished with him in a while. Yeah, he posted a video recently, but a lot of guys that I do fish with, some of them, you know, and I know that I have an advantage where all I have to do is fish. You know, I don't have to worry about a job and doing different things. I mean, I do a lot of other stuff, but I can fish anytime I want to, pretty much. And I know a lot of other guys, they want to fish all the time, and I'm like, yeah, let's go fish. And then they get, you know, life. They have to work 50 hours or 60 hours, or then they have, you know, this happens going on. So like Reed's been real busy working a lot, and he's moved recently, stuff like that. But like Josh Bassenbeer, like we talk all the time now. And like we stayed together like 5 or 6 different kayak tournaments, and Chris and like Alex Rudd. I was messaging him, like I kind of knew who he was from YouTube, and then we fished 2 or 3 times together. We're trying to set up another trip together, you know, and I can just, you know, message these guys, you know, for comments or stuff like that, or like questions and things like that. So like the creek crawler Brian, I've never fished with him. But I feel like I can message him anytime I want to, and like ask him a question about something. Hey, I got this question, or something like that. Which I'm not a texter. Like I'm not the guy that I don't text and call people hardly at all. So if I ever do text or call you, you're one of my friends probably, because I do not like message people, and that thing, I don't want to start. Go ahead.
What's weird is when the first time I commented on your channel for years. Like I remember I was subscribed to you before you had like 15,000, but I finally direct messaged you on Instagram because I was like, hey man, I'm on a road trip. I'm going through your area. Like, give me a creek to.
Oh yeah.
What's a good spot? And you were just like, why don't we just go fishing? And I was like, no, I didn't expect that, but yeah, I'll make time. I told Jen because we were on our way down to Florida. I was like,
that's right.
Take the day off to go fishing. And she was like, go ahead.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like a lot of these people like you, like I might know from a distance, and then we do get the chance to meet. And then we're like, we just hit it off. We're like, yeah, this dude's all right. Like I can hang out with this guy.
Right.
And we can just talk, or we'll just talk about whatever, you know, and it doesn't have to be just fishing. Like that doesn't have to be our only connection. Like we got a lot of other things we're both interested in. But I probably like, I have been so blessed to like have a ton of people reach out to me. And like, I could name 30, 40 channels, or like maybe guys that don't even have a channel that have reached out that I'm like, I consider friends. I maybe not talk to them very often, but we'll meet up every once in a while, or if I need anything or something, they're going to help me out or whatever. Yeah. So I could name like so many people, and some of them, like I said, some of them, I might only see every couple of years, but and then of course it's going to be local people, like you said, the local guys are the guys you're going to see a lot more. You're going to fish with a lot more. and it's going to be easier to connect with those guys because you're around them.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't imagine how much people reach out to you. I mean, with as many followers as you have, I know I get bombarded with people like, "Hey, I want to fish with you." And I mean, I'd love to fish with everyone, but it's hard to fish with everyone who asks.
I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy I want to please everybody. I did heating and air for 14 years, and when somebody calls with a problem, I'm like, I'm on my way because your air conditioner's out, your heat's out. Like, and I want to get there and I want to solve that because I want to fix that problem for them. When people ask me, I get a message, "Hey, try these lures." I got 5 or 6 little bags of different lures that people sent me through the post office that I'll probably never get on a video, but I try sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I get messaged all the time about meeting up, doing this, and I'm like, I would love it for work out for everybody, but it's just not how it is. Sometimes it's the guy that's messages me that's like, "Hey, I'll be there Friday," and I'm like, "I'll be here Friday,"
Right.
And then I have guys that I want to fish with. I've tried to fish with, and the timing has just never worked out. Or some people are like, they'll message me, I won't see it for a week or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's like a good and a bad. I'd say that comes through, I guess, getting popularized kind of, or however you say it, getting notarized.
That's true. And I think the positive of that is that a lot of guys like trust you to like keep their spot safe. And I've been given a lot of juicy spots that I didn't know about, and just because they're like, "Hey, I want to see you fish it."
Yeah. I love hearing that too, and that I think that's awesome. They're like, "Dude, you would love this spot. Come fish it." And I'm like, I'm not gonna blast it
I'll keep it on
whatever.
Yeah, I'll keep it on secret.
Like, I get that a lot. I get spots all the time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I can't get to every spot. There's a lot out there. And
so if anybody here knows of an Ohio creek that can put me on a 5-pound bass, I've never caught a 5-pound bass.
Dude, if I know lots of places that I could catch a 5-pound smallmouth, but you gotta fish those places a lot.
I know. I've gone up with Rick to Erie a few times, and we've tried. I'm trying to get me a big old giant 22-inch.
I know. That's the thing. Like most of the places I fish, I'm gonna fish within an hour of my house. Like I got a lot within an hour, but like there's good spots that are 2-3 hours away. Those take effort to get to.
Have you been to the Mecca of smallmouth, Lake St. Clair? Have you been to the Mecca yet?
No,
I haven't either.
Hold on. Yeah, how come you haven't caught way out of there?
Like, right, yeah, the 5-pounder out of Little Miami. They're in there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, my biggest thing. Sorry, my biggest thing this year was I've caught 2 over 5-pound spotted bass.
Dude, that one recently was insane. Yeah. I know you were telling me it was like the water record. You were claiming it as the water record.
Yeah, I'm claiming it. I hadn't seen anything about it in there.
Put that stamp on there.
And that's I always thought about that. Like, what if I caught something that's like really made me famous? Like something I was like, you're known for catching this fish.
Go carve it into a tree. John Dalton was here. 5.12.
Yeah, my buddy Josh, he caught one or two 5-pounders smallmouth this year. But like, there's 5-pound smallmouth all over these waterways. But
I almost got
getting them's a different story.
In Gatlinburg, I was fishing. We didn't have a lot of time to fish, so me and Jen went to what is it? The Pigeon River that goes in between Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
Yeah,
that little causeway or whatever. And I was like, "Hey, let's pull off here and grab the poles down there." Oh my goodness, 2-foot rainbow trout were down there, and I ran into another angler, and he was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "What are you fishing for?" And I was like, "Smallmouth, but I see a bunch of rainbow trout." And he was like, "Make sure you got the right thing, because this is what they call a select creek. And if you don't have the Gatlinburg Pass, it's like a $400 ticket."
Oh,
I was like, "All right, I'm headed to the car. I'm gonna get out of here." He's like, "Yeah, Rangers are down here all the time." I don't know if he was trying to get me out of his spot or if he was just being kind. I think he was being kind, but
yeah. Oh yeah, they're strict up there.
I didn't know that. And I looked it up, and I was sure enough, you got to have a special pass to catch it. And no wonder, because the rainbow trout were just boom. And that's why I wanted to ask you, around you, do you have a lot of trout spots?
Oh, I got all kinds of trout spots. Yeah. I don't go there because I don't like trout fishing.
Oh yeah, no.
But like it doesn't give me as much joy and satisfaction to catch trout. Like I'll do it more in the winter because they get more active, and the other fish slow down. So I'll go like there's a lot of spots around me that they stock them all over the place around here. And I got a bunch of friends that they trout fish all the time, and I'm like, that's all right. I don't know what it is. Like I'd rather go get on some red ear or big bluegill than go catch trout.
I haven't caught many trout. I had to go up near Columbus, Ohio, like halfway up the state until I get into like some wild trout areas. But I don't know. I can count as many trout as I've caught on one hand in my life. I haven't done a lot of trout fishing.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, we got wild trout. We got everything around here. Like if anybody wants to, like, that's what people are doing. Anybody wants to move to East Tennessee, like all up and down East Tennessee, it is the most diverse fishing. I mean, it may be anywhere. Like it's crazy. Like the different stuff. Like I mean, we got rivers with muskie in them, and I don't really target them very often. But I'm like, I should go try catch muskie. We got striper all over the place. I'm like, I hardly ever go for striper. Most of those kind of fish, it's more of a dedication. Like you got to figure it out, and you got to put a lot of work into it. So those
fact.
And when it comes to, if I was just an average angler, I mean, just an angler, it's easier. But when I'm a making YouTube videos is what I count on. Making YouTube videos is my living. It's easy. I tend to lean for fish that I'm like, I want to make sure I'm making a video.
Yeah.
Instead of just.
That's hard to do with the fish of 10,000 casts because if you're musky fishing and you're trying to make a video, man, that could be a long day.
Yeah. I've been lucky to catch I've caught 3 in my life, and that's the last year and a half. But all right, I got another question here, and we'll be off here in just a second. Anybody's watching, dude? Little update. I appreciate everybody watching. We got a good turnout. Thanks so much for all the Cascade people coming over. Y'all really brought some people in. Thank you if you're watching on Facebook or on my YouTube channel. And I'm mainly going to do this on my second YouTube channel, which is More Creek Fishing Adventures YouTube channel. But if I can figure out how to keep it going on Facebook, I might do that too. So if you're on Facebook, I had a lot of comments on Facebook. Appreciate y'all on there. If you want to get any comments in, we are about to get off here and you got another 10 minutes at the most. You good for that?
Hello.
You good for how long? How much longer you got? You good for another 10 minutes or so?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay. If you got any comments, also if you have a recommendation, if you say that like I'd rather watch this on Facebook or I'd rather watch it on YouTube, that'd be interesting just to hear. Or maybe that you maybe like I had no idea. I only see it on YouTube or I only see it on Facebook. I'm just trying to figure this out. This is only my 9th episode, and I'm trying to figure out the podcast game. I'm about to master this game. I'll be killing it. Get thousands of views.
Listen, right. Me and John talked about this before we came on the air. We were talking basketball. I was like, next time we fish, wherever we meet up, either you come to Cincy or I come down there, we got to do like a basketball. Instead of a game of horse, we'll play a game of bass. Oh. And then like whoever wins by as many letters, that's like how many fish points ahead you get to start or something like that. We got to make some sort of basketball challenge. I've done that with some buddies who play disc golf. So we had like a disc golf challenge. Yeah.
Disc golf is getting big around here. They're putting a lot of things up for that, like the courses. But yeah, we gotta do some kind of I gotta involve basketball more into my videos somehow. But all right, here's see here. I got that one in.
Oh, someone said basketball. I like it. Okay.
Oh my goodness. You got some geniuses up in here. Micah's pretty good. All right. I got 2 questions left, and then we'll talk about whatever, or answer any last questions people get on here. What is it? What is it about fishing a stream that calls to you? I know it does. So, like, what is it about like a creek or river that just is like, I want to go fish that? Like, I love this.
It changes. It's because the creek changes so often. The fish move, the depth makes the river, the depth as much as 8 inches up or down changes the whole river because pockets empty, pockets fill, and it changes where the fish go. So it's almost like an adventure trying to figure out, I fished this creek 30 times. It's different today. Where are they going to be? I love the challenge of just going out to a creek fisher. Plus, I'm an avid hiker, and creek fishing is almost like hiking plus. So
It is, yeah.
it's like a good hike. You're out in nature. I am completely happy if I catch nothing and I'm just out in the creek, out in the water, out in nature. Because even if I don't get a video, I'm out taking an awesome, beautiful hike in the hills of Ohio. So that's
Yeah.
what it is for me. It's the experience. It's just I love being in the water. I don't know. I'm a water rat.
Yeah.
I love being out there. It's
Yeah. I know a lot of bass fishing guys, and it's like I try to tell them, I'm like, how to like about creeks, and every time they do it, they like, dude, this is fun. Oh, I love doing this. And it's a different mind. If you're a fishing like dude, like you're a big time cat fisherman, or you're a big time bass fisherman, you go fish a creek and you're catching small fish. You can't have the mindset of I'm going here to catch giants. It's
right.
a different mindset. And I know that you approach this like you just said the same way. When we go into the creek fishing, it's a different mindset. And I love what Steve said. It's what's around the next corner.
100%.
That is it. Like I have to know like what's that next bin look like. I'm like, I gotta go
That's
there.
a
Oh,
problem,
look at that.
isn't
I
it?
have to go up there.
Isn't that a problem? Like
It is.
I've been nights where I know I'm gonna get caught in the dark, and I'm like, oh, I gotta see that next pool. It looks so good. I know I'm gonna be running back with my headlamp in the dark, but I gotta go see it. And someone else commented, I think it was Steve or David Brockway that said, "What's under that rock?" Because I play "What's Under That Rock" in my videos, and I love finding like snakes and mice and critters, and I'll find a Hellgrammite or a little frog, and I'll use those for bait. And yeah, that's part of the adventure, is just
the
exploring.
mystery of the fishery. It is a mystery, and
Absolutely.
You're going into it like I'm looking for fish. I'm looking to see what kind of fish are in here, or what size maybe come out of here. I'm also looking to see what it looks like. What else am I going to come across? And I like walking too. I like moving. Like I want to move, and and it can be tough, and especially slippery rocks, whatever. And I understand. And I probably in 10, 15 years, I'll probably like never go to a creek again, because I'm like, I don't want to fall and break my hip. But I love to just start moving. Like, let's just go walk. Let's walk the bank. We'll get in the creek. We'll hop. We'll go up to the next spot. Let's just go on a little further. And it's so satisfying. It's like it's satisfying. You get all this stuff happening. And
have you used? I know you're a big dude, so you probably have huge feet like I do. But have you ever used felt bottom soled shoes that are made for river walking?
Mm-hmm.
I have not. I got a pair from my waders sponsor, 8 Fans, and I gave them to Cincy Fish Dudes, and he said they are like Velcro walking in the water. They are so good. He's like, but when you get on the muddy bank, it's like ice skating. So once you're in the water, though, it's super like you're just on the rocks and you feel great. So I was going to ask you if you've ever experienced felt bottom shoes.
I have a pair of Chota wading shoes, felt bottom.
And what size shoe do you wear?
Huh?
What size shoe do you wear?
I can wear 14s in those, because like nobody makes a 15. I wear 15.
Same. That's what I wear.
But like I got like 3 pairs of 14s, and my feet are like crammed in there.
All right, you're gonna have to link me those. I gotta get the link to that brand.
But the thing is, they're heavy. Like I don't want to wear them if I'm covering water.
Yeah,
they're too heavy.
Like lead weights.
They're great for trout fishing, and because you're most of the time when trout fishermen and stuff, you're getting out in these areas, but you stand still. You get out to these rocks and you stand there and you fish. Like I have there's a different pair of Chota Hybrid 800s. It's a newer Chota came out with, and they gave me a pair for free actually, and I love them. But they're not felt bottom, but they're still got a pretty grippy bottom. They drain real fast, and there's a lot. So they're actually really nice. And they're the best thing I've come across so far. But since I've been looking into it, there's supposedly a lot of other companies making shoes, but like I said, most of them are up to 12 or 13. So it's like I want to try all these shoes out, but I can't even order them if I wanted to.
I got a pair that they sent me as like a test for Jen, but they were too big. If anyone in the chat wears an 8.5 and wants some felt bottom shoes, hit me up in a DM. I'll give them to you for free. I've been trying to give these things away. I can't find anyone that wears an 8.5.
Yeah, but All right, that was a good little conversation about creeks. I like that. You got me fired up, even though it's like gonna be 32 tomorrow. And
I know. It can be 32 down there. Dude, we had a cold snap today. I woke up and it was 34, and the high today was 42 here. It was freezing.
Oh wow! So I went out today and fished with my buddy Chris, Catfish Chris, and caught like 3 bluegill. We were trying to catch crappie. I think we're gonna go for crappie tomorrow. So a lot of like I said, the water is lower in a lot of these creeks and streams. So we're gonna go hit some bridges, and usually the crappie start moving in there, but it says it's 41 degrees. Ooh. I might not go till later in the afternoon. It's gonna be 29 degrees at sunrise.
Ooh.
I may wait. I may sleep in.
That's definitely.
I'm not out there at sunrise. I'm a lazy fisherman.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right now in my area, it says mixed rain and snow.
Oh, awesome.
Cold.
Yeah.
The 10-day forecast is looking good. Next Monday is going to be 77.
Like you said a few weeks ago, you were catching like fish easy. When those nights like that, it just boom. Them fish just don't know what to do, and that water, that shallow water, just really gets cold fast. Okay, this is it. The last question that I have written down for you.
Let's hear it.
I meant to send this to you, but I didn't. So I'll let you think about it for a couple seconds.
Okay, all right.
If you could do your ultimate fishing trip, you didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to worry about time. You didn't have to worry about how to get to the location you want to get to. What would be your ultimate fishing trip that you would go on? And while he's thinking, anybody got any comments, you better get them in quick, because at 10 o'clock, I'm closing this thing down.
All right, I'll tell you what. I took probably one of the most amazing scenic trips I have ever been on in 2005, and I wasn't really into fishing back then. I went to Oregon, and I went through the Columbia River Gorge that separates Oregon from Washington, and then I cut down to the middle of the state to Crater Lake, and then hit the coast. I would absolutely love to repeat that trip, but doing it fishing. The Columbia River Gorge was just probably 150 waterfalls throughout the whole thing, and just probably the most beautiful body of water I have ever laid eyes on. Maybe save some Hawaiian creeks, but that Hawaii kind of is in a league of its own. That doesn't count. But I would probably say the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. That would be by far.
Columbia River Gorge.
Yeah.
I'm going there.
I don't even know it's fishable, but to look at it, I was like, this is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. There has to be fish here. I would say that's probably the place.
That's not one I ever expected. I like, of course, a lot of people, where to go. Oh, here's one. What does Hawaii have in their freshwater streams?
Shut up. Hawaii has smallmouth? Really?
No, he said, does Hawaii have smallmouth?
Oh, he says Hawaii does have smallmouth.
Hold on a second. Is that a question or is that a statement?
First of all, how'd they get there? Someone brought them, right? Not a native species.
Them down there. Somebody brought them with them. Like, I'm taking smallmouth with me.
I have to investigate that now. Hawaiian smallmouth.
The thing is, they did. If you look at like trout, like fish stocking, like back in the 40s and 50s and stuff, they put fish in all kinds of places.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what? Our 10-year anniversary is coming up next year, and we've planned to go back to Hawaii. I will absolutely target me some Hawaiian smallmouth.
That would be crazy. That's funny. Like I was listening to a podcast or something recently, and they were talking about like a lot of places where they stocked smallmouth, and they're trying to take them back out because there was already like native fish that they're like displacing and stuff. So it's funny, all this stuff. But all right, here's a good one from the comment section. All right, what's your favorite food after you eat? And yes, Matt, he eats. So yeah, I look Mexican. I have to go Mexican after I eat.
There we go. Like, sit down Mexican.
Yeah.
Sit down Mexican. I have a class of Mexican food. Sit down Mexican is probably one of my favorite foods of all time. And Jen doesn't like sit down Mexican. So I have to do that when I'm with someone else. So if I'm with a fishing buddy, I'm like, we're going to sit down Mexican. Get a big old plate of nachos carbone.
Nachos carbone. I get basically it's like a pollo loco. It's just like chicken, cheese, and rice.
Yeah.
And they make it a bunch of different ways. Sorry, and sometimes a little chorizo on top.
Now, back to the smallmouth thing. I remember me and you were talking about this, that there is a line kind of in Tennessee that that is like no smallmouth, smallmouth. So there's like a break where we finally get into that northern smallmouth kind of like territory.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing is, smallmouth are native to the Tennessee River. If you look at the Tennessee River, it goes down into like comes down through East Tennessee, goes down into Alabama, close to Georgia, but Alabama, and then back into Tennessee. And they catch smallmouth in Alabama, and there's like 3 creeks that you can catch smallmouth in Georgia, but for the most part, they're not thick smallmouth creeks like you would think. You have to go like Knoxville up. If you know where Knoxville is, it's like middle of Tennessee. But like I have there's places that you can go catch smallmouth, but they're just it's not the same. It's like it's either up in the mountains with a higher elevation, or you got to go above like Knoxville area,
yeah,
and stuff. But yeah, it's that's another weird thing. I could talk about that kind of stuff all day. I just find that fascinating, like what fish lives in certain areas, and like like I always say in Georgia. Well, I don't always say it's a fact. In Georgia, they have 10 black bass species, and Alabama has 9, and I think Florida has like 7. We have 4 in Tennessee, and I'm like, and they all have their like little area that they live in. Like you have to go over here to this watershed, catch this one. Go over here to this watershed, catch this
yeah.
one. I
I'm
always
so
think it's
glad
like,
you put me on a Kusa bass, because that was on my bucket list for so long. That cool greenish, tealish, bluish looking fish, Kusa bass, was definitely on my bucket list. I'm glad you got me to knock that one out. That was cool.
Yeah, and that's something like I didn't know. I didn't even know what it was. I started catching them before I was doing YouTube. So when I moved this area, and I'm like, what are these things? And I didn't really know a lot of species then. I never caught smallmouth before I moved here either. And then like it's cool that I was able to like learn what that fish is, and like I didn't realize I would share a fish with people that had no idea what it was. So like majority of people had no idea what a Kusa bass is, and I'm like, I got to share that fish with a lot of people and didn't even know it existed. But
Steve Brockway says, "Do you know the scientific name?" I only know the smallmouth bass, which is Dolomu salmoides. And I
does it
only know
matter
that
what the
because
scientific name
Cincy Fish Dudes says it all the time in his video. That's all the only reason I know that.
Who?
Cincy Fish Dudes, who's in the chat, he says the scientific name every time he catches one. Yeah.
Yeah. I never look at the scientific name. Hold on, I can look over here. I got this
Was I right
Florida's...
on the smallmouth Dolomu salmoides?
I don't know. I don't really. Micropterus dolomu.
Micropterus. Oh, I had it wrong. See, I knew it was wrong.
Dude, people know this stuff. I'm glad y'all know y'all's Latin, whatever it is. Somebody asked about food, but do you know the scientific? Hold on.
Someone put Taco Bell. List. You're rolling the dice, buddy. You're rolling the dice.
You better make sure you're carrying wipes.
That's Israel. Yeah.
Salmoides
is the largemouth.
Dude, gas station pizza is so satisfying for like the first 2 bites. But all right, this is it. You got any last comments, parting farewells? You want to mention anything?
Yeah, go check out Matt's Fishing Mission Pro Box at Cascade, man. Get you one of those. You want to catch some creek bass. Heck yeah. Yep. Go check out NAPRA, the Pro Wading League. Get signed up for 2023. If you're in Ohio, join me out there in the creeks. Love to see you. Love to meet you. Yeah. Heck yeah. I've had a blast, man. This is awesome.
Check out Matt's Fishing Mission. He's got a channel. And if you're really into it, you can just go watch him live on TikTok and pick out lures that you want to fish with.
Right.
So he's got things going on. So go follow. He's got a lot of social media stuff. Good dude. He's really fun he's a really fun guy to watch and enjoy. You can just sit there and watch him get excited about catching fish. Also, like I said, Cascade works with Cascade, and I'll be checking out some stuff from them. And so I've got a bunch of stuff recently that I really want to try. It's like, man, I can't really try it for most of my creek bass fishing. I got to like wait till next spring now.
Yeah.
That's the only sad thing about kind of the creek slowing down. You gotta adapt. Oh, I was gonna mention this also. You were talking about it changing things as winter comes on. It's funny. that also it can make you be more creative. And I kind of enjoy the winter change. Like, man, I can't do what I can do. Like, I can easily go make a video in 3 hours, fishing a creek. It's like, this is pretty easy. But as it gets winter, it's like, I got to think of new things, got to think outside the box and come up with new ideas. But then when spring comes around, you're so pumped to get back into creeks again. So
I know
it's fun to have that break. And it's like, I can't wait. But anyways,
you got
Matt,
the super chat. Cascade gave you the super chat. Cascade all day. Love you, Matt. Hey, thanks, Rick.
We'll be putting that back into a Cascade.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
You got a PO box, right?
I know there was a bunch of Cascade guys that came tonight, and I appreciate you, Rick, shouting it out. I went over there and I somehow clicked on. I was getting Sonic right before I ate, or right before I came back home, and I saw the Cascade live. I was like, "What is this?" Clicked on it on Instagram, and I was like, "Go!" And he's like, "We'll be watching Creek Fishing Adventures." I'm like, "What? That's me."
Yeah. Tackle Tuesday. He's doing Tackle Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every Tuesday he's on there.
Tackle Tuesday, and then we do box them, ship them on Thursdays and Fridays, where we do live boxing and shipping orders. So people order it, and then Rick usually does like a giveaway if you hit like 10 or 20 orders or whatever, and he does like a giveaway of some stuff.
That's
fun. Yeah, it's a fun event. And then he does he's a crappie master. He does crappie fishing live on his TikTok a lot and stuff like that. Okay. We'll get you a care package, man. We'll get you hooked up. I'll send something to your PO box.
I like it. Hey, I like it. All right, I appreciate everybody being on here. Hold on just a second, and let me end all this. Thank you for watching on Facebook. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And we'll see you hopefully next Sunday. I don't know. I'll be at church next Sunday. I'll see you next Tuesday with another guest I got lined up, but we'll see what happens. So anyways, thanks for watching.